All right. Growing up, I have three older brothers. One's adopted, and then two, the closest in age to me. We would always. I just have basically a lot of stories from growing up with them, but just choose one, tell you about it. Yeah, they used to watch movies and kind of reenact them. Like, for instance, they watched Rocky and watched him drink raw eggs and get up at 5 in the morning and go running. So, the next day I watched them wake up at 5 a.m. and try and drink raw eggs and almost throw up, and then they would go jogging and not even make it down the block and be over it. They watched like American Ninja, and then they were throwing knives at each other and doing all kinds of stuff like that. So they would always get hyped on movies and kind of do that stuff. And since I was close in age, I was pretty young, I would just do whatever they were doing. And I don't know what the movie was, but it was something to do with initiation, doing things they were like, we're gonna make a little club, and it's gonna be me and my two brothers, and we have to do stuff for initiation to be in the club. So they decided that my oldest brother was gonna take a crap in the backyard. That was gonna be his thing for initiation, and me and my other brother Mark were gonna have to run. I was gonna have to run down the street in a jock strap, which is just the front with the strap and your ass hanging out, nothing else. And my other brother Mark was gonna ride a bike in a jock strap next to me, and all we had to do was go down to the end of the street and come back. My parents they would go bowling, so they would always leave every Saturday. So every Saturday we would get up to, I don't know, some kind of nonsense. So they were out. So yeah, basically I remember being outside and my brother looking at me, and he's in the jockstrap on his bike, and he's like, all right, Marty, we just got to make it to the end of the street. It's not that busy of a street, but if we see car lights, I'm going to go to the left and hide in a bush. You go to the right and hide in a bush. The car will go by. We'll be fine. So, all right, whatever. I was just a little kid, like, okay, sure. So we start going. He's riding his bike, and I'm running. And he thinks he sees a car about halfway down the street, so he turns, but he turns the wrong way and hits me and knocks me over and runs me over with his bike. And I automatically start crying. I have like 2 tire marks on me from the front wheel and back wheel. He has to walk me back to the house. So basically my parents come home. They come home to my brother in a jockstrap telling me to shut up. And I'm laying on the table with tire marks on me and a jockstrap just crying. And they're, again, like, every time they'd come home, there'd be like smoke coming out of the house from a smoke bomb, or the neighbors yelling at, like knocking on our door, and we were always getting into trouble. So we had to explain to them like what we were doing, the whole initiation thing, and what everyone had to do. And we explained why we were in jock straps, and I had tire marks on me and everything. And finally my dad was like, all right, whatever. Like, he had kind of a temper then. He looks at my oldest brother Mike, and he's like, well, what did you have to do? And he's like, oh, I just went to the bathroom in the backyard. He's like, oh, you pissed in the backyard. And my brother just smiled at him, and my dad just freaked out. Like, you took a crap in the backyard? And he ended up, my mom planted these, like, she had a little garden with, like, tomato plants and stuff, and I guess he crapped all over him. So, yeah, they weren't too psyched. And I think that was pretty much the end of them trying to copy movies. I never ran in a jockstrap again.
Yeah.
Yeah. The day will come.